Hi everyone, and welcome to the 6-week overview of the game making course. First off, I have to apologise for the recording of my voice. Something went a bit weird, and to be honest, I don't know what went wrong, so I had to use this system. So the video today is just going to be the students talking about their game, what they liked, what they didn't like, and how they might want to take the game forward. Um, this is the last week, so it's a bit sad, but I'm really impressed with what the students were able to come up with. Very proud, very creative as well. I was kind of blown away with just the 6 weeks. Hopefully, as well, you've been following the videos and you've also created an online board game that you are also proud of. By all means, post a play test link in the descriptions so that other people can enjoy your game. Or if you want, just get people to play test. Um, yeah, if you are interested in maybe taking part in one of our courses in the future, all the details are in the description. But if you are unable to, don't worry, we'll be posting more videos in the future. Enjoy.
Oh, say red hard. Oh, you've changed the background as well. Nice. Like that. That's cool. And you've got a nice little layout and you've got your cards. Like that. Cool. Now you've done all that. And you've got what's this blue thing here?
So I put that down and I couldn't and I put it down when I was in the setup phase.
Yeah.
And I locked it and I can't unlock it and get rid of it.
But
I can't select it.
What is it?
It's meant to be like a because I wanted to do like a zone so you know where to put your cards to.
Right.
But obviously then I found out it's only a blue like half a square. So I thought, well, I might just get rid of this. But at that point I'd already locked it and I couldn't select it and get rid of it.
You should be able to just right click it in the setup and then do unlock. But if not, then I don't. If that's not working, I don't really know what to suggest. Really.
Yeah, I tried everything. So at the moment, it's just there to mark where the dice goes, I guess.
And the dice, is out of interest, is this a dice that you've made, or is this a dice that's from the?
It's from the actual Tabletopia. It's
Okay, nice.
it's called a steampunk mouse.
It works really well for your thing because of the cogs.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan's gone. All right then. Well, all right then. So, I guess introduce your game. You know what's it called and everything. Talk a little bit about the game, why you decided to make this game. Talk about what you like about the game, what you don't like about the game, and maybe how you'd like the game to progress afterwards.
Okay. Well, this is the game I've just made called Fields of War. It's based on World War II, specifically the battles of 1944. So all the cards are representative of the era at the time. So certain tanks, certain infantry, and certain so on will be all represented in that era.
Yeah.
Reason why I made the game in the first place was because I've got a strong enthusiasm for history, more specifically World War II. So I thought I'd make a card game based on my favorite genre, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, so you've got your Japanese bit there. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, I've all Six Nations are. Well, they were originally intended to be completely unique in their own way, but they're the only thing that sets them apart is their commander abilities and a couple of cards, but every card is more or less the same.
Okay, cool. Can you name a few things that you really like? How, like thinking? So you obviously, I think we talked. I think it was the first or second. I think the first week I said, "Oh, have a start thinking about the game," and the second week we kind of really sort of locked that down. So, did you already have an idea of what you wanted to make even before you started the workshop, or at the end of the first session you were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I want to do this," or did it kind of form afterwards, or until now?
I think it was at the end of the first session I realized what I wanted to do completely.
Okay.
It was I can upload type the first iteration of cards. It's the workshop if need be. But when it first came out, it was just a card, and it was going to be a simple attack and defend, and it kind of just grew from there. Yeah. Taking elements from Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering and other types of card games.
Yeah. And how do you know roughly? You mentioned that there was a version of like just attack and defend, and I did mention about having a closed loop and then opening that loop and then adding more elements each time. Do you know
Yeah.
how many like versions you did?
I only wanted to do like every card would have like one ability, but then after that, it kind of it expanded then to the point where the commander should have more abilities, and then it was like we were talking now about passive and active abilities for every different type of card.
Yeah.
And it's just growing more and more and more the more I play, and the more I think, I could add this, I could add this, and I can have this into it. So the more sessions I've been doing, the more it's been expanding.
That's I mean that's how it should be anyway. So from the first session to now, how many versions do you think that there are, if there are, from closed loop? So would you say 5, 6, or would you say there's a lot more?
I'd say there's about 2, honestly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, obviously, it's changed a lot since from last time. You've got it's a little bit neater in terms of like the layout and everything, but obviously it's set up to this. Obviously, you changed the background, the dice, and stuff like that. Can you name a few things that you thought that you did really, really well during this whole thing, and also a few things that you thought that you think you can improve on?
I really enjoyed the artwork of the cards. I put a lot of effort into that with my Photoshoppy skills.
Yeah.
Took me a while to master the design of the cards as well. If you look at the cards, it's got like a black background with the square and the circles, and that took a while. That took surprisingly quite a while to master how to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, favorite piece is the artwork. I absolutely loved doing the artwork for the cards. It was the fun I had, I think, during the whole project.
Yeah.
Least thing I don't like though is how limited Tabletopia is in terms of assets. So, for example, the tokens, it's just a simple like a man with then some Z's on them. I would have liked to have made more tokens with like, for example, like the artwork of the Japanese flag, so the rising sun on the tokens rather than just the man with the Z's. And
you can upload your own tokens, right?
Yeah. It was just, I think it was a time scope of that thing.
Yeah,
I
of course.
Focused on getting cards done rather than focus on little things like
that's absolutely,
or a mat or whatever.
That's absolutely right. That's exactly how you should have done it. You could always add little things and stuff like that on to the end, so that's absolutely fine. So yeah, that's really cool. And you mentioned already that you kind of want to progress potentially with the game. What do you kind of see the game sort of evolve into, like in potentially another week or two? Playing with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
What would you like to add?
The passive and active abilities, more cards, more nations.
Okay.
Just generally expanding on the whole thing, just making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Because at first it was only going to be 2 nations, then it's going to be 4, then it's going to be 4, and now it's 6. So I'm hoping to just keep expanding in every direction. I
think I'll be honest. I love what you've done here. I think you've really got a good, quite solid game there. I am part of a few Facebook groups, board game groups, because I do a lot of board game. Well, I used to when we could go out. A few board game groups in Cardiff. If you just like search for like your local area and stuff for board games, because I see it a lot on the groups and stuff. Oh, can you kind of? I want advice and stuff like that. If you want to do that blind test phase, so it's a little bit outside your comfort area with your just friends. I don't see it being too long until you're actually ready for that. If you would like to get an outsider, more say, I wouldn't say professional, because maybe some of them aren't, but a lot more people who play a lot more board games who don't really know you and might give you a slightly different perspective on the game. So that's definitely an option for you if you want. Most board game people who I play with, they're like pretty chill, they're pretty nice, and they're quite happy to, just to play your game or whatever. But if you're a good opportunity there to make some new friends, and like I said, who knows what it might come out of, on how it will go. But definitely maybe look at that avenue if you want to. It's certainly for the blind play testing. I know in Cardiff they do well. They used to. They did a thing each year in the Angel Hotel where they do a tabletop day, where they just fill the entire bottom floor of people who play board games. And there's a lot of play testing areas, which is really good. So people actually print out their games and get people to play test. There's lots of events. There's obviously tons and tons of board games and stuff. But yeah, did you say it was quite? Is it easy for you to get to Cardiff or not?
Yeah, it's just a simple train ride for me.
Yeah. So when it all goes back down to normal and stuff like that, and they start bringing it
Whatever
on,
that will be.
yeah, I highly recommend both of you if you've enjoyed the sort of card making stuff like that. Take a couple of your friends or whatever, and honestly, it's a really really fun day. You get to meet new people, or you could just play with yourself in a sort of your groups. One thing that I did, which was really cool, is we played a group Starship Simulator game. So we had like a screen in front of us that everyone could see, and then each individual person had their own controls. So I was the pilot, one was communications, one was weapons, and we had to work together in order to do this mission. And then that was really fun. So yeah, I recommend you do that. But no, that's really cool. I really like that. I quite like the Japanese one. How you've done there. Interesting to see what card. Just out of interest, what card do you think is a little bit overpowered? Just from.
I have to find it. It's in this. It's in the Ostfront deck. Let me see if I can.
So British.
This one I think is the most powerful of the cards, but there are other ones that are just as powerful, but they have to work up to it. This one is just off the bat straight powerful.
Oh, okay. So touch and deal damage. Wait a minute. Deflect damage if zeroed and placed in discard pile. So wait. So if someone attacks them, do they deflect? That doesn't return the damage, right?
No. It bounces off. So
okay. And then you've got Tact Scare. Opponent redraws 3 cards, place previous cards back into deck and shuffle. Okay, so if they've got, I guess that could be a double-edged sword, couldn't it? If you had a really good hand, then you're like, oh crap. But if you had a rubbish hand, opportunity there to get some good cards there, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What about your hero ones? Have you changed, actually, just out of interest, have you changed the hero abilities, or have you kept them the same from last time?
I kept them mostly the same. Nothing really needs to be drastically changed. It's just people have different preferences. So people might think that, for example, the Japanese one, the first one might be a good one, but some people might think the last one is the best one, the Death Before Dishonor ability.
Yeah, okay,
preference at that point.
That's cool. And you've got this one here, which is recover up to 3 HP, but for each HP gained, you sacrifice 1 card. So
yeah,
that would be, I guess that would, I know there's a card that does something similar in Hearthstone, where I think it's the undead one, where you could sacrifice your HP to draw 1 additional card. But that has the same sort of thing where if you finish your card's deck, you basically lose the game. So it's quite similar in that sense.
That's a double-edged sword. Completely.
Yeah.
Like you can survive more hits, but you run the risk of decking yourself out.
Yeah, that's cool. And finally, what were some of the things that you mentioned that you've implemented, or you said that your friends talked about changing your game? Because you did talk about some of them, right?
Yeah, I mentioned that. So the big thing that my friends mentioned was that they mentioned. So one of them mentioned that they could have more cards perhaps on the field. So instead of drawing 3, instead you draw 5, and you can only place up to 3. It gives you more choice of what you can put down.
Sure.
And changing the whole attack defend mechanic. Okay. So rather than, for example, let's just bring this one out. So for example, if it was my turn, I would attack this card. But people thought that this card just taking the damage and then be destroyed was a bit too broken. So they suggested, like, perhaps For example, this card does 4 damage and this one does 2, so maybe it would be like halved damage instead. So
oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was one of the big changes as well. And one mentioned more phases. So at the moment, there's only a deployment phase and a battle phase. But my friend suggested a untap phase, a draw phase, a main one where you do all your special abilities. Like there's some. I think of one. Like for example, this one where you flip it, and then during the start of the attack, you unflip it and do a damage before the turn order is decided by the roll of the die.
Yeah, that's that's sub phase, isn't it? And
sub phases.
Yeah. Well, drawing your cards is like you got preparation phase because that would drawing cards would need to be a phase because it's in your preparation phase.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's more sub phases, more anything.
Yeah.
That's cool. No, well, I mean, that's really cool. I'm glad that you're having fun with it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, continue working on it. If it helps your, mental states and stuff like that, because it's always, there's no real downside on that. But no, really impressed. I'm happy with that. That's really cool. Oh, okay. This looks nice. Oh, I like how this is looking. That looks very. Just out of interest, did you do the background as well? The floor, or is that something from Tabletopia? Oh, okay. I was going to say it works really well with your board game. It works really, really well. Yeah, you've obviously changed a lot there as well in terms of their board, and you've got the circle bit as well. How do you get? Oh, I see. So you've got the entrance there. That's cool. And you've got. Oh wow. How did you get these? Where did you get these images from? Because these look really cool. Like there's death here. You've got the shadow. It's not.
That's amazing, dude.
No, it's not. Are you serious? The guy with the thing. Wow, holy shit. That's all I can say. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. Amazing. I can't. Wow. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to have to. I really want to look at your cards. That's the first thing I want to do. Okay, cool. And you do. Is it all like so? Okay, what medium do you use? Okay, that's the one that we did last time. That's cool. Is it Photoshop or is it you've drawn it? Love this one. Okay, so then you scan it in, or you take a photo. Give me one. Okay, quite like that one actually. It's quite abstract. Yeah, I think you mentioned last time you sell some of your paintings, right? I wouldn't be surprised that you make money from this. Wow. Yeah, color me impressed. Very impressed. Wow. I mean, it just goes to show, doesn't it? Like, both of you have 2 completely different games, and both of you have like blow me in a way on like what you've both produced. But okay, enough me. I guess like because I'm obviously a graphic designer, a little bit like fanboying a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Cool. That's amazing. Okay, cool. Anyway, we'll go through the game. Obviously, you've changed it a little bit and stuff. You've done the walls different. I think the walls are different from last time, right?
Yeah, the layout's slightly different.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's go through the questions. So I guess why did you decide to make this particular game? Why did you go with this game instead of like another one? What brought you to making this before? Okay, cool. All right then. Yeah. Yeah. How did you come up with the sort of pathway thing? Does it sort of come from any of the other games that you've played, and you're like, oh, I really like this element. I'm gonna sort of adapt it to my own. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think you have mentioned that before, but that's fine. What else? I mean, obviously the art is your own art, so that's absolutely fine. What do you? Okay, name name stuff that you really like about the game, and name stuff that you didn't like so much or you'd like to improve upon. Okay, cool. Do you like? I mean, is that something that you quite like? Yeah, cool. So you like it that it plays a lot slower. Okay. Anything else that you like particularly about the game? Like what you've created in 6 weeks? Obviously, I know you've both done a little bit outside of that, but okay. So is that something that you want to? Are you going to potentially work on this afterwards, or are you going to sort of go, okay, I'm done with this game now for the 6 weeks? You just wanted to see how much you got for how far you got in 6 weeks, or are you going to do a little bit like Lloyd said and sort of maybe work on that a bit more afterwards? I mean, if you enjoy it, I mean, there's no reason. Cool, that's really cool. Just out of interest, I know you obviously mentioned that the art is yours. Did you make the art for this particular, like for this board game, or have you already created these elements of art before and you're like, actually, this would work really well for my board game? Okay, cool. So basically you've done these images before, but when you start making it, you're like, oh, actually these would really work with yeah, they really do, don't they? They really do. I know the board is yours. How did you do the board? Is that another acrylic painting as well, or is that different? Or is that a mixture of stuff that you've taken online and changed or whatnot? Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see it's like all branch, but is it just a picture of a tree? Because obviously you've edited it. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I really like it. I love the sort of. I mean, obviously it's on the back of the cards, but yeah, it's got that like organic like nature feel to it, but at the same time, it's very abstract, isn't it? I really like that. Yeah. What would you what do you not like about the game? What would you like to improve at this point? Obviously, like what's your own critic? What would you say? Okay, cool. Well, I mean that's something that you could easily add. You could easily add on to that. That's not too much. I don't know if this is something that you've added or I've never noticed before, but if you actually pick up the counter, there's a really odd sound. I don't know if you're hearing that, but you've got a little click, and then it's like a draw sound. Did you do that? Like, I don't know if they all do it. Yeah, they all do it. I don't know. Oh, okay. So did you add that in? That you didn't you didn't mean to? Because I didn't even know you could add sound. I'm sure there might be an option there, but yeah. Wow. Well, that's pretty cool because if that's the case, I mean, Lloyd, this might be even better. It might be good for you as well. You could add some mechanical stuff, but with this one, you could add some quite cool footsteps, couldn't you?
Wait, there was. Oh yeah, I you know what? I would have loved if I could have added sounds. I didn't know how.
Yeah, well,
like there's like in my card game there's like planes. I would love like a plane sound or like a bombing sound. When you
when you place the cards down or when they attack. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I would love that.
Oh, cool. Well, there you go. Well, we found something new. All right. So yeah. So you want to add some cards, just like Lloyd's game, but you think it's a bit. Being simple isn't necessarily a bad thing. I've played a lot of simple games that are still immensely fun and everything, but that's absolutely fine. I guess. Do you plan on working on the game more, or are you going to kind of go, all right, this is it now? Cool, great. Well, I mean, like I said, if it relaxes you and it's a bit of a hobby and stuff like that, go for it. If maybe you could actually do some new artwork and add them onto the cards. So obviously you're using your previous ones. I guess finally, if you're obviously going to continue working on the game, what would you like to add? You obviously mentioned cards for the players. Is there anything else you'd like to add to it? Okay, cool. I noticed that you also took away the coins. So is there a way to get points? Because we've still got the counters. So how would you get points now, just briefly? Like, would it just be the cards that give you the coins? Oh, it's treasure. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, I think I did actually see treasure there, so that's fair enough. Yeah, no, I mean, wow. What can I say, guys? I mean, you've both sort of shocked me. I've done these workshops a few times now, and you see such a different range of skills, but definitely this has been one of the major times. I've always been impressed with what the students come up with, but I think this is the major times on like the elements of the sort of naturing on your skill sets and what you've done. Phil, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah, you've got that sort of feel, haven't you? It's really good. Have you got friends, or have you been play testing with friends like Lloyd has, or have you only sort of been play testing with us? Just out of interest. Okay. Look, like I said, once the link is up, obviously it'll be up hopefully for a long time until I close the account, but I shouldn't need to. Yeah, just use that link or use your own if you want to do the sort of Facebook groups like I mentioned before. They're normally really, really nice and stuff like that. Just say, look, I created a game. Can I do that? It's always good to get feedback. I imagine what we played last week, and we obviously provide you a bit of feedback. You've obviously took some of that, and you've obviously implemented it and changed it to something that are you happy with it? Happy with what you've created? I mean, if you're not, you really should be. But I imagine that you are happy with what you've done. Cool. Well, I think it's a lot of and this is a skill that it will apply to everything in life, especially with regardless to what work you're going to be doing. If it's your art or if it's doing something in the museum, feedback doesn't always have to, people do sort of see it as negative and sort of criticism and stuff like that. If you sort of, obviously it's how it's been said as well, but don't take offense to it, or try not to. Try to learn from the experience on going, okay, great, this is what they've said. They don't mean any malice towards it. They're giving me the thing. Maybe some of the feedback I don't really want to listen to. It's not something that I want to put onto, but yeah, it's something that I had to learn as well. And I know a lot of individuals or students that I've talked to, sometimes a bit defensive. They're like, oh, well, it's done this way because of this. And certainly from my line of work, when I do graphic design, if a client says to me, I want it this way, or I want it changed, I can't go back to them and say, oh, it's done this way because of this. It's from their perspective. When they're if customers say, potentially you both could develop this game more and sell. It's got a lot of elements. This one's got the art. The other one, the other previous game's got great art. You've done phenomenally well on both. It could sell. I'm not, there's games out there that are so similar out there, but it's different that there wouldn't be any reason to. Obviously, there's a lot more work involved with anything. But if anything that was different or someone didn't like or whatever, you wouldn't have the opportunity to say, oh, well, it's actually done this way because of X, right? That's when you have to sort of go, okay, well, this is the feedback. This is what I potentially need to do. And it's what I said to Lloyd in the sense of, if it's going to maybe potentially hurt your sales, you do have to sort of take that on board, and it is a double-sided sword or coin or however you like to see it. But I think overall, I'm immensely impressed with both of these games. I'm actually impressed that you've also changed the background. I know it's one of the first things that I showed you what to do, but I find it quite funny that when I did the first game, and I was like, oh yeah, it's got like a cave sort of feel. It's great, and then you've both added on a background that's really worked. I don't know if you both played around with it, but I know you can't do it here. But you do have tables, and then you can have skyboxes. So you have one here. Then you sort of spin it round, and then you'll have one here, and so on. So you could do that if you wanted to, but honestly, I think how you've done it here is really good. I will say, no, was it? Oh no, it's set here. I think there was a way that you, one of the workshops, again, just look at the YouTube video tutorials that I've done, where I set the camera. So if you want to do that, you can sort that out. But yeah, no, wow, that's really good. I mean, does anyone else want to say anything about the whole workshop or this game in general, or are we all good?
Well, there's one issue I can spot with this is the black in the corner has one more space to go to get through the first gap. All the rest,
really?
Yeah, all the rest have 14. The black has 15.
Oh, yeah, it's here, isn't it?
No,
yes.
It's up. It's up. The second row, the gap. Keep on going. Blue. Yeah, go straight across to the gap.
What, this one here, or?
Yeah, that row. Yeah.
You
want to go horizontally to the gap. The other way, right side.
Yeah.
And it's 15 spaces to get through the gap for black, and everybody else takes 14. So there's a slight unfair advantage. Yeah, well, it's only because the angle that the camera is on, it looked like the yellow and the black had more spaces to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit of an unfair advantage. So I started counting the spaces and just having a look, and I noticed that the black has one extra space to go through the second. So you've got the side you go up to and down. So maybe you could open it up so it's a double gate and not a single one. So, and that would kind of take off the unfair advantage. And I was thinking about it. It's really, obviously, the game is really dark, and I like that. You could so kidify it for kids, like where you've got death, you could have a bird or a squirrel, So there's a market to have it as a more of a kid-friendly game as well.
Wow. So yeah,
so like Ludo, more of a kid-friendly. So and I like the tree. So, but I think but I like it. Don't get me wrong, I really like it. And like I'm saying, you could kidify it. So you've got kid market and adult market if you were ever going to take it forward. And maybe the boxes, the white outlines to separate the boards, maybe potentially they could be branches, like a thicker tree branches.
Yeah.
So it's just not like a lot of white on dark.
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sorry, Dan.
No. I think it's cool. I think a kidified game of this could potentially be really good. I think it would do really well.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at some popular games where they have different variations on, kids versions or whatever versions. But yeah, that would, some games allow that, some games don't. But there's definitely a opportunity there if, like Dan said, you wanted to take it forwards.